90% of the time, your rendering needs will be met in these two menus over here, the render properties and the output menu. Let's actually start with the second one, the output menu. You can easily achieve these with percentage numbers. More on formats later in the Cinematic Tools chapter. Another important option for the final rendered result is the frame rate. This one basically controls the region that will be rendered out. So yeah, important to set up as well, though you'll often do it right in the animation process. And then, the output itself, where you want your images to be stored. More on that in a moment. Or you can type this / symbol. This will ensure your video will be rendered out exactly where your blend file is. I actually used to use PNGs for the longest time to render out .my image sequences. However, recently I started to employ the EXR pipeline more and more. It is almost the same size, it gives you more data and color grading options, and generally there are very little downside to this format. Most of the time, you'll probably be fine with this 16-bit half load option. It will pack less color info, but it will keep your image sizes smaller, comparable to PNGs. If you don't want to deal with image sequences after you've rendered out the result, you can also output a whole video file. Use the medium output quality, but for maximum size, choose high or even lossless. Let's just lower the samples to something like 64, because then your animations will always look more natural. I really recommend it for that purpose. We have this set up here to be actually able to preview the composite using this backdrop option. Now you can do any number of post-production operations, effects, color grading, stuff like that. But this is usually what you do in a professional pipeline after you render out your image sequences. And your final video should pop up in no time. At later stages of this course, you will actually start rendering videos that even contain some sounds. We went through the whole pipeline in this chapter, simplifying a lot of the steps, of course, but I believe that now you're familiar enough with Blender to go easily through this course. So happy learning.